I was the type of kid that if I could not get the toy at Toys R Us that Saturday, odds are I'd probably get it next Saturday. You know, that was kind of my lifestyle. But what happened was in my 6th grade year, my father went through a serious stroke. Half of his body was paralyzed. He couldn't work anymore. He was disabled. And from there, my entire financial situation changed. I guess you could say it was very humbling. You know, when you're living a lifestyle where, you know, life was good. And all of a sudden, it's such a culture shock, I guess you could say. And at first, I was a little rebellious because I could not understand the change. But my family said, you know what, be as supportive as you can. You know, it's not like your father chose to have that stroke. So I became more considerate, and my parents just said, son, just go out there and do what you can for the family. You know, so I just went, I wanted to be a good kid. And my parents just said, just do well in school. Yes. So that's what I did. I went out there, got the best grades as I could. I worked my way into becoming an AP honors student through my high school career. And I tell people it's not because I was a smart kid, it's because I was a hardworking kid. I always wondered what those kids did that set the curve, you know what I'm saying? And they would study a lot less than I would, you know? So I was just going out there, and again, this is what happened in my senior year. Some big things happened. I don't know if you know family members or if you live a lifestyle where they say, you know, get the good grades, and then go to a great university, and then go out there and get your dream job. And that's exactly the plan that I was following. What happened in my senior year, I went through major surgeries on my jaw. I had an impacted tooth because I had a baby tooth that never came out. And, you know, in my senior year, they figured that out. It was right here, one baby tooth that never came out. It pushed my permanent tooth into my jaw, wedged it into my jaw, went through multiple surgeries, and then I had braces. And then, you know, one day I go to my parents for allowance, and they said, son, we don't have any. And then I thought they were joking with me, and they told me all the surgeries that you went through wiped out your college fund. They were fighting insurance. Insurance didn't want to pay for it because they were saying that it was all cosmetic when it really wasn't. Changed my life again. That's when I started looking for work. And I'll tell you, when it came to looking at this type of work, this was not my first option. Does that make sense? I was going out there, I was trying to find a job. You know, I was going to Best Buy, I was going to Jack in the Box, I was going everywhere filling out job applications. I guess the goal was to try to avoid McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? That was my goal. You know, and what happened was I could not find a job. I came across this line of work. And I got involved and I learned the ropes. And I'll tell you, in the very beginning, you know, it was a learning experience. But eventually I picked up on it and did very well. But this is what I tell people, you know, when you work in an industry, it's very important that you work for a good company. And I tell people, I use this analogy that you don't want to sail on a ship that was meant to sink. You know what I'm saying? Because could you imagine you're putting forth effort, you're putting forth work, you're pouring your heart and soul out, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, whatever you're doing goes out of business. That's right. And in a way, you got to start all over again. Some people are saying, well, what were you doing prior to? Well, back in my day when I was a lot younger, I was doing, let's say, dial-up, okay? Dial-up internet. Well, exactly, what is that? You know, dial-up internet, right? I mean, isn't it safe to say most people are on cable and DSL? Yes, and if you don't have it, you're probably jacking your neighbors. You know what I'm saying, right? I'm just messing with that. Right? But the fact of the matter is, I don't want to, you know, again, pour your heart and soul, you know, and you're doing decently okay, and then all of a sudden, again, outdated technology. And you know what I realized? I said, you know what, I want to work. One thing I've noticed that companies that are worth in the billions, they provide products. Not just one product, products. Because there are other companies out there that they will sell that ace product or what I call the magic bullet product. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is, if everyone's doing that, hey, there's something called market saturation. I've noticed all the billion-dollar companies have a product line. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that. Another thing too, a billion-dollar company, they don't have services necessarily. Especially in the line of work that we do. It's a tangible product. So when I saw this line of work, first things first, I actually didn't want to do this type of work anymore. You know, some people might think, oh, he must be very positive and this and that. And, you know, for me, I wasn't, because I said, you know what? I was the type that I said, you know what? I've been exposed and I've been doing this type of work. And, you know, in the very beginning, didn't do very well, started to do well. I guess you could say my opinion was very diverse. Because, you know, you're going to hear all types of opinions. You know, yeah, I got involved, and, you know, when I was a lot younger, didn't do well, but then I started to do well. But, you know, at my age, at around 23 years old, when I saw USANA, I was at a point in my life where I go, I just want to kind of move on with my life. Yeah. And you know what? This is what happened. A couple friends said, well, Duke, you know, why don't we keep on going out there? Why don't we do what we're good at? And I said, no, that's cool. You know, you can do what you need to do. And they said, well, Duke, come on. What if there's a good company out there? And again, I was being the negative one saying, well, what if there isn't? And then they said, Duke, well, it's kind of like dating. If you had a bad date, you're not going to stop dating. I wanted to be smart and go, well, what if I want to? You know what I'm saying? But it's not realistic. So all of a sudden, we started looking, and I said, okay, if we can't find a good company in 7 days, let's move on. USANA comes. And when I saw USANA, I'll tell you, you know, because there's a lot of other companies out there, what really sold me, it's funny because you get to see an opportunity. I got to see a VHS. Not just a VHS, it's not even one that describes the opportunity, it's one where you're actually already working in the company. You know what I'm saying? So I get a chance to see our founder, Dr. Wentz. And I'll tell you something, I'm used to seeing people that start a company, I don't know if you know this or not,